Welcome to episode 4 of Cheap Cans, Broken Vans and Basement Bar Bands. I'm definitely not drinking cheap cans today. This was £4 from Cloudwater.
Cloudwater's a
very nice. Thanks, Bev. Bev, give me the heads up on that. So this is the 4th episode. We are going from releases 31 to 40 today. And we have some special celebrity guests joining us. And basically, this is an opportunity for us to go through every single TNS release that we've done to celebrate releasing our 100th release, which is on pre-order now. You should buy a copy. And it gives it a chance to revisit loads of old releases. So if you're new to the label, you can find out about how we started and the bands that we were releasing back in the early days. And if you've been involved since day one, it's a chance for you to remember what you did with your life. So yeah.
Yeah, I very much need help remembering what I did with my life. It's very completely lost, which is going to make today a struggle. But I'm sure Andy will remind me everything I've done. But yeah, welcome, Big Hands and Katz. How are you doing?
Hi.
So yeah, we all
just feeling the football.
Yeah, we all played football yesterday for the first time in a long time, and everything aches. Yeah. My lower back is screwed. Andy's probably fit and fine. Never have any injuries.
To be fair, like I, for those who don't know, I've had 2 lots of knee surgery in recent years, and my knee that's had surgery on it is comedy levels of big today, but it doesn't actually hurt that much. Maybe that's because I haven't stopped drinking other than for a few hours sleep since the game. But yeah, I've got a bigger bruise where someone cropped me, but yeah, I'm seeing that as a big victory that I'm not having to lift my leg up and have ice on it all day. So that's football in your 40s, everyone.
I managed 2 glasses of wine and then fell asleep.
Yeah. My biggest injury is on my thumb, of all things. The ball hit me right on the thumb and bent my thumb back, and now my thumb's a bit sore. Other than that, I feel fine. I clearly didn't do much work.
I think a lot of people, a nickname for a good goalkeeper is the Cat, and your name is Katz on Facebook, isn't it? So Katz the Katz, I think, is going to take off.
I actually think I might change my name because I don't like being a Karen anymore after all the, thing about Karens. So I'm actually considering legally changing my name to Katz.
Why not? Why not? Should we go on to TNS 31? 31 are we on?
31, yeah. Okay, and it is this. In Session from Maida Vale, Revenge of the Psychotronic Man.
This is nice.
Yeah, so this was a ludicrous thing that happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got played a few times on the Radio 1 Punk show, as did a few other TNS bands. Faintest Idea had done a session, and the Punk show was really supportive of DIY bands. It was ridiculous hearing TNS bands being played on the show. So every time they played you on the show, they asked you to submit your lyrics. So we were in touch with the presenter and Mike and the producer, Dave King, and regularly chatting with Dave King. And we just said, we'd be up for doing a session if you ever want it. He said, I'd absolutely love that. It'd be brilliant. Didn't hear anything for the best part of 8 months, I think it was. And we assumed he'd just been being very nice and it was never going to happen. And out of the blue, we got a list of dates through to go to Maida Vale and record a session. And to be honest, 3 drunken idiots like Revenge at Maida Vale was as surreal as it sounds. It was ridiculous. We got there was someone paid to move our gear downstairs. We were trying to help and he was saying, no, giving us food vouchers to go and have some dinner and stuff. It was
more of a case of get out of my way and just disappear. You're more hassle than it's worth. But yeah, I was take some photos for this. But yeah, I was thinking before, I've got a memory of must have been on tour with you guys in Germany, and we got the first email through asking for lyrics from the producer, And so
yeah, we were.
Guys, I've just had an email from the punk show. They want your lyrics. But that was pretty special. But it was Fate's Idea that did a session first, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that went down really well, didn't it? It was amazing. There was quite a few DIY bands getting on the show around that time. I think Drones did one as well. There was several. It's such a shame that show's gone. I think having that mix of established bands and up and coming bands was really incredible. And obviously some punk gets covered on the rock show now, but it's not the same having that specialist show, is it?
No, definitely. So I guess you wanted this out kind of more of a like we did this as a record, so it doesn't like kind of, I know literally a record, but it doesn't disappear into the ether. This happened and it was a session. But we had to put the logo on the back, didn't we? We had to pay a lot of money to press this record.
Well, we asked how much it would be to have the rights to it, and they said you could have the rights to it for 5 years to release physically, and it wasn't ridiculously expensive. It was what you would have paid in a really good studio and obviously it's mixed and mastered for you. So we thought we'll just treat it as like a day in a posh studio, because as you say, we wanted to document it. We wanted to document that it had happened, and we were pretty happy with the recordings. So yeah, we decided to do it, and because they knew we were DIY, the people who sorted out the licensing for it were actually really good about it. So it was good. But yeah, so I think it was ace to put out the record. But yeah, we might as well say a little bit about the day, because probably the happiest I've ever seen Big Hands in his life was when he was setting up his drum stool, and he was happy at the wedding too. But and I went, just think, Dave Grohl set up there when Nirvana did their session in this room, and I've never seen a look like the look in your face. You're like, what the fuck?
I think it was more terror than anything else.
And then one of the guys, one of the engineers went, yeah, I had to go and buy him some drumsticks because he didn't have any with him. Dave Grohl, not Big Hands.
Big Hands probably had a whole bundle.
What are your memories of that day then, Big Hands?
I think the main two things that stick out, I think the first one was Danny from Fate's Idea was that desperate to go back to Maida Vale. He drove from King's Lynn to Manchester to pick us all up, then drove us all the way down to Maida Vale, stayed with us, drove us all the way back to Manchester afterwards, and then back to King's Lynn at the end. It's like, did you miss it that much, Danny?
Yeah, just to get his little name tag with BBC Maida Vale. I've still got like the master CD they give us and the name tag, which we had to give back to reception, but obviously every single one of us nicked ours. I'll drop them into the video so people can see them.
I remember us all being like, right, we've got to take this serious on the day. We've got to make sure we get a good recording out of it. So on the way down there, I think we treated that as, right, let's just get pissed today in the van on the way down. And that ended up being quite messy, I think. I don't know how Danny managed to concentrate while we had the disco ball in the back. And
Is that when Matt crowd surfed in the van, or was that a different time?
No, I think that was a different one.
I think it was multiple different times.
Yeah. And then the other main memory I had was when we were recording it, we kept trying to get everything absolutely spot on. And they kept saying to us, look, this is the live recording. It doesn't have to be spot on. That one's fine. That one's fine. And I can't remember which track it was. You'll probably remember when they said, yeah, that one's good enough. And we're like, well, can we do it one more time? And they were like, well, you can, but try not to play it so fast. And I kind of took my challenge to play it faster. I can't remember which track it was, but it ended up being like stupidly fast, didn't it, in the end?
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous because we were all dead nervous, but we did the first track in one take, didn't we? And then we got all overconfident. But I think there was one. I think it was the Boot Scraper cover that we did. It was like a 4-take wonder, wasn't it? But it was okay.
There's a Boot Scraper cover on it because that was a thing of the session, wasn't it? One of the tracks was going to be a cover. I think that's what they did. Yeah. Isn't that what they did on all their sessions?
Yeah, I think so.
which
or recommended it at least.
Yeah, which led to a future release that we'll discuss later. And I borrowed somebody's fisheye for the photos.
That photo is so cool that Bev took. Yeah, I've got that framed.
It is pretty special.
1, 2, 3.
You should have had one as well.
I know, I forgot to get them out. They're all behind me, just there.
So yeah, the Franceens from York. This was TNS 32, which I think we're up to somewhere, for reference, at 2013, end of 2013 maybe?
I would say, yeah, we recorded Maida Vale in 2013. I'm not sure whether we released it that year. I think it might have slipped into 2014 by now, but it's in that ballpark, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
We could have put the years on the record, shouldn't we?
I'm trying to remember though.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to look. I've got a list of somewhere, but they're not in order of the when everything came out. So December 2013, 9th of December. There you go. So these are the guys that run Behind the White Door in York, put on loads of gigs. So that kind of like what we've discussed in the past is like we like bands that support the scene and do a lot of work and yeah, run their own scene in their local area and book loads of bands. And I can't remember the first time I saw the Franceens. My memory's
I remember the first time I saw them because it was in Leeds. I assume it was Pie Race, and they were really good. And we talked about wanting a band that sounded a bit like the Hives, because we all love the Hives, don't we, for ages. So it was really nice to see a garagey band, and yeah, and I got chatting to them after, and they already knew a bit about TNS, and they were keen to get involved in TNS from day one, but you hadn't seen them at that point. But I remember we talked about sometimes you have a look when you see a band and you go, well, this will work. And
yeah.
I remember the first time you saw them, you were very much of the same opinion. Yeah, and they're not around anymore, but we did 2 releases with them. We'll come to the second one shortly, but they were one of my favourite live bands for a good period of time. And yeah, the Behind the White Door gigs were cool. I remember they used to have some in an old like a sort of independent cinema that were really cool. And we should shout out to the York scene as well, because there's BGB as well in York, and a lot of TNS bands would definitely say that York is one of their favourite places to play. I would say it's a really cool place to gig. You've played there, haven't you, Kaz?
Yeah, we played last year, I think it was. It was brilliant. It was such a good weekend. I mean, obviously we've been to the weekend before anyway, because we used to go with Revenge, but it's just such a friendly atmosphere, isn't it, in York? Everyone's just so nice and welcoming, and everyone has a laugh and just gets really involved with it, which is just dead nice.
Yeah, it's one of those gigs where there's a pit from the first song of the first band, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is always good.
From a band point of view as well, you want people to be getting involved and enjoying the music, and you can guarantee there you've always going to have at least a small bundle of people dancing, if not a big bundle, you know.
What's this song? Silly tracks.
So yeah, this is our first release of Wonk Unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is, I think, that 4th album, possibly. Yeah. So yes, our first introduction to us first introducing Wonk Unit to our group. They played for TNS before this, haven't they?
At Crack Gallery, I think it was.
Yeah. I think that kind of introduced Alex to what we do. And then he discussed releasing this with us. Is it a joint release? I can't remember what we did on this one.
No, I think this one's just us. Oh no, it was published by Bomber, but we released the physical version ourselves. So yeah, like Wonk Unit, I'd been aware of them for a while, and I don't think Alex will mind me saying this. The first time I heard Wonk Unit, I thought, what am I listening to? And it was Muffy, the first album I heard, and I was thinking, I've not heard anything like this in ages. And I thought, sort of put it to one side. And then I remember like just sitting thinking about it, like thinking about what I'd heard. And it was one of those albums that really, I can't think of another example where it hit me in the same sort of way. Like I didn't necessarily love it straight away, but I just kept thinking about it. And I put it on again. And then within about 4 listens, I was like, this is like nothing else. This is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think Muffy might be the Wonk Unit album I've listened to the most.
Yeah, I knew about them before. I think maybe a couple of years before we put them on, and you could see that a lot of people were getting interested in them, couldn't you? And then I think it was that time they played for TNS we first started talking about that we'd do the next album. But yeah, I think we had stock of Muffy, didn't we? We might have got it at that gig. And then,
possibly.
And then it built from there, really, didn't it? Like Alex very much shared a lot of the same ethos, and we talk all the time about bands doing their own things in where they live and where they're based and supporting other bands. And Alex and the rest of Wonk, which is a changing lineup over the years, obviously, but I've always been very supportive of other bands and always watch all the other bands at the gigs. And Wonk Fest is an incredible occasion every year. Depending on what time you play and the years that you don't play, the memory of it is always always different. But it's always definite on everyone's calendar, isn't it? It's just sort of the London MPF in a way, but obviously on one day.
Yeah, is this this second kind of southern band we put out? First London band. Put Beat a Red Light out before this, but first London band, I think. So hopefully it opened us up to new audiences, new crowds as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that particular Wonk Unit release, but I always remember them being the ones which started to make the pre-orders really annoying to pack.
They were always
that would have been Mr. Splashy, won't it?
We'd lose our house for at least a couple of days trying to get that organised, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Should we leave Wonk Unit? Because they feature multiple times, don't they? And we've got lots of stories about them, and they've been a big part of our history. But maybe in the interest of this one not being too long, we'll come back to them in future releases, perhaps.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Wake up, confused, I'm all alone in a strange country where the fuck is my phone? Hazy recollections of the night that precedes. A burning thirsty time before the killer needed. Will see me right. A couple of bites, my hands are shaking violently. I feel I'm passing out. Will sort me out.
The next release was part of me discovering that I've got lots of 7-inches that are in no order at all, and I've also got lots of decent 7-inches that I never look at. So I didn't find this one. But it's 10 Years of Revenge. Did you feel time? No.
No.
What's that?
How old did you feel? How old did you feel when we released 10 Years of Revenge?
Older than 10.
Yeah, that was a joke. I mean, that's gone exceptionally well and won't be edited. I guess with 10 Years of Revenge, it was really to coincide with 10 years of TNS, because the first ever Revenge gig was the first ever TNS gig. And obviously, as we discussed in earlier episodes, TNS started as a fanzine in 2003, but the first gig was in April 2004, and then we did several gigs that year. And Revenge weren't supposed to play the first gig, but two bands pulled out, one on the day because of a fainting incident. So we'd sort of half got a set together. We'd only sort of said the name was going to be the name as a joke, hadn't we? And we decided to keep it. We'd found the DVD in the pound shop. So yeah, the 10 years of TNS coincided exactly to the day with 10 years of Revenge. And yeah, we wanted to do like a pack that would, like a bundle that would go out with the 10-year gig tickets. So we decided to record 2 old songs. One was Get Pissed Talk Shit, was off the first TNS release, the compilation, and then one was off the like a sort of demo we'd done before TNS started. So yeah, they were sort of to celebrate the fact that we've been going 10 years. And then we did 2 dance remixes, which I have to say are probably 2 of the best things that ever happened to Revenge. And the amount of people who've asked me if we're going to play them live, it really kills me, because how would that happen? What would happen? I just have visions of Big Hands pressing a button on a laptop and me and Matt dancing.
That is literally all that would happen. Which
now you say it, why didn't that happen?
We had one. We finished with one, didn't we? The last gig, played it after we finished.
Yeah. So yeah, we should talk about the 10-year gig, shouldn't we? The 10-year gig was quite an important thing, and it led to MPF in a roundabout way, didn't it? Yeah,
we've been doing all days, so every year we do an all day and get loads of TNS bands to play, and our gigs were starting to slowly get busier. So, and the all days were always like the high point of the year, you know, ticket sales wise. And then we decided, right, 10 years, let's go to a bigger venue and see what we can do. And so we booked Sound Control, that's no longer there. It's now Student Flats, which is the way with music venues at the moment. And we'd sold, over 400 tickets, and we were like, whoa, the people traveled for it. It was just an absolutely incredible day. And it kind of made us realize what we, that we could bring people in. For something like that, and it kind of led to the thoughts of possibilities of, well, I guess we kind of went, we can't really top that next year. We can't do another TNS all day like that. What could we do that's different? And that's where we started having conversations with other people, like Moving North and Anarchistic Undertones, and then pulled together MPF as a year after TNS 10-year party. It was good fun.
Yeah.
Thing that turned out to be it.
I think a big memory for me of that gig was like Random Hand were headlining, and just Revenge played just before them, and I was just like standing to the side of the stage, and I think all 3 of us were together. You might have been in the pit, I think, Katz. I can't remember, but I remember one of you 2 tapping me on the shoulder and go, what the fuck is this? And it was just like ridiculous to see that all that day people had been in from the start, and the bands we'd seen playing to small crowds in little venues were just playing to 400 people who were going for it. It was really amazing to see. So the weekend we did a Friday and a Saturday, didn't we? So the Saturday was at Sound Control, and then we had an after show at Joshua Brooks, which was nice because a lot of the early gigs were at Joshua Brooks, and that was absolute carnage. Cradle to Rave and Bomb IB for DJ sets as well. Went on till 4
I don't really remember any of the after show whatsoever.
I don't remember any of it.
And then on the Friday we had a gig at the Bay Horse. And I remember someone from the Bay Horse saying to me, it's been a good night when there's footprints on the ceiling, which I think was a good thing. But so there was a really lovely story, and it shows how trusting me and Bev are and how deceitful our friends are, really. There was a really lovely story from the Friday night, which I thought maybe you 2 could elaborate on.
So I remember prior to, obviously, the last gig, we like a bundle of us were thinking, what can we, like, we need to do some surprises for you guys, because we need to do something you don't know about that will like commemorate the 10-year part of it. And we were like, what can we do? So obviously we're having discussions with Kim about making a cake, and then quite a number of us got involved in like the decorations for the cake and what have you. Can't remember, I think I made a cat and like a chess piece or something to go on it. But I remember us having a party of making the cake decorations just to go on it. And then I think we were talking and we said we should do a recording, like, and get a load of TNS bands in, get people together and each do a verse from the TNS family, basically. So you guys had already done the bass of it. I think you'd already done the drumming and stuff, hadn't you? So.
Well, I think originally we had an idea of doing a whole new song, I think. And then I think the more we talked about it, we just thought that that's just going to be too much effort to get that done.
Those guys, too much effort.
And then we remembered, we thought, well, we've just literally just recorded the family for the Boot Scraper split. So why don't we just use the stems for that and get everyone else in, as many people as we could, to sing along to it.
So we messaged Tim, didn't we? Obviously, because Tim G was recording it a lot at that time, and we messaged him and was like, "How do you feel about this? Is this something you'd help us with?" And obviously, he was just like, "Yeah," straight away. So we just got a bit of a message together and like invited a ton of TNS bands and asked if they wanted to be involved. And I just remember us turning up, and we were all just sat there, obviously drinking beer inside or whatever, and just all sitting down in Tim's little studio writing new lyrics to the choruses of it. And like, what can we talk about? And obviously we had to feature a load of past stories and what have you in it. And
I think it was a case of we got there, we sat down and thought, right, this is what we're doing, but what are we actually doing?
Yeah.
So just made it up as we went along.
It was such a lovely day as well, though, because everybody was in really high spirits, and like, obviously they were, at the time I'd never done any vocals or anything like that, so me and Kim had a bit in a chorus with Mike in it. Even Tom was trying to get us in time, and we were just jumping in at all the wrong spots, and it was horrendous. It was terrible. It makes me wonder how I've ended up being a vocalist in a band, to be honest, but who knows. But I remember Rising Strike turning up, and they turned up sort of late in the day, because obviously they had to get from here, there and wherever.
Everyone had taken loads of takes over everything.
Yeah.
So like Tim was at his absolute peak of getting ready to kick everyone out.
You know what, Tim, yeah. Obviously Danny was there as well. So Tim was on his last edge. And
Rising Strike stood up right at the very end.
Literally like right within the last hour, half hour.
Yeah.
Came, did it all in one take, and then fucked off again. I was like, you guys are just professionals. Like, literally, one take is all it took, and then they just left again, and we were like, great, like.
Well, they did one take, and because it was so good, we were taking the piss out of them. So,
yes,
we'll do another one if you want.
Funny
and then
take.
they did that funny one for the outtakes.
Yeah, it was just such a fun day. Like, we had so much fun doing it, and we knew that you guys were going to really love it. And I think it just made it all really lovely, didn't it?
Mm.
And then I was just gonna say, I'll never forget your faces when we put it on. Andy, you literally look like you're about to cry, and I just felt so warm.
I did cry.
Yeah.
Especially when all the Danish lot came on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a big show.
Yeah.
See, I have two big memories of all that story, because the day you recorded, obviously I knew nothing about it, but going back to what I was saying about fucking my knee up, I just had my cruise ship operation, and we were at a gig in Liverpool, and it was the first time I'd really been out since the operation. I was on crutches at the gig, and I remember all you lot coming in. Well, I don't know if everyone was there, but a lot of people who'd obviously been on the piss all day turning up, and because I was so like, I didn't really know what was going on. I was just sort of, oh right, that's interesting, funny, and just didn't think anything of it, and. Yeah, didn't really think anything of it. And then now looking back, I'm like, all right, that's what's going on there. But then, when it got revealed to us, I remember Acid Drop setting up like a screen, like, whilst before their set. And I was thinking, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I'm sure I took the piss out of them for doing it and going, oh, have you got visuals, have you?
Yeah, we're so naive. Like, I didn't cross my mind at all. I was like,
I honestly don't know how you didn't know. Wasn't there a point as well where you were on a train and you bumped into somebody going to the recording?
Yeah, it was Scott. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had his camera. Someone said to me at the Liverpool gig as well, someone said, where's Matt? And I went, I don't know. And they were like, well, he's been on the piss with you all day. I went, he hasn't.
Oh, with us.
And I'm sure someone said to me about, at Tim G's studio. I was just very naive. Even when someone said that, I didn't think of anything of it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't know, because it was nice to see it as a complete surprise. Like it was really hard for you to not find out. It's hard to keep it a secret because so many people knew about it, and I was like, someone's going to slip up, someone's going to say something, and no one did, which is amazing.
We probably wouldn't have clicked if anyone had said something anyway. So.
Well, they did to me, and I didn't click. So. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone involved in that. I did cry, and it was beautiful. And yeah,
it's nice to watch back as well, though, because it's on the internet forever now. And like when I'm feeling a bit low, I'll watch it, and it makes me just feel so happy. Like it just brings back a ton of good memories, you know.
Well, Andy's probably slotted it in about there. So
I think, yeah, a lot of the time with TNS, you're not looking for a pat on the back or anything, but sometimes it's exhausting as well. And there's times when you think, this is an odd hobby. What am I doing? And things like that, you're just like, it really makes you realise that people have invested in TNS, and it's a family, and everyone's part of it, and it was just beautiful. Thank you.
That's all right.
Yeah, yeah, all of that.
Made so many people happy with what you do.
Right, what's next, Andy?
It's
I found
Blackstar Dub Collective, the Vampire 12-inch single.
Very nice. Got some stickers I haven't looked at.
Nice.
So this was a joint release, wasn't it? From labels that I can't remember who, but it's just 12-inch single. In a disco sleeve.
It's not the first time we worked with Blackstar, is it? We did this split from Russia and with Dub, which was them and Autonomads. And I think, like that had gone really well. So it was nice to work with them again. I think the first super group we worked with, as we get older, there's more and more super groups. But yeah, they were the first band made up of members of multiple different bands that we proper worked with, and they were great. They don't do very much anymore, but that single was really cool. And I think one of my best memories of them is playing Gorilla at MPF, and it was just absolutely heaving. Yeah, it was so cool.
That was early on in the day as well.
Might have even been the first band at Gorilla, if I remember right.
Yeah. They had a good crowd, though, didn't they?
I think I managed to walk in for one song trying to find Gambero, and that was it. I missed the rest of it.
What, did Gambero miss his shift to watch Blackstar? Unbelievable. Who'd have guessed that?
I couldn't find him because I went in and it was that full. I'm guessing he was at the front, and there was no way I was going to get to the front.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a release joint with a number of labels. I think it's probably Pumpkin that organised most things around there, and we chipped in and helped out with the release. Yeah, it was good.
For some reason, I bought the CD and the vinyl version of this.
So did I.
Oh, wow.
I feel unprepared that I didn't get
Sorry.
No, you're guests. You don't have to.
You have to be prepared. We're not even prepared. We've got.
We'll do a tour of the garage later.
Yeah.
Just to go back to the previous release, one fun fact about it, I never got a copy of that from TNS, so I had to buy it.
Oh no.
From who? It was the joint release. Who was it? Did you say Pumpkin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to buy it separately from Pumpkin because you sold
we only sold out of our copies about 6 months ago.
Maybe it was another Black Star one then. Maybe it was the other one.
Maybe you just didn't worthy one.
Memory wrong.
We're doing enough hard work, Big Hands, at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Officer Down. So it was a joint release on the vinyl, and then we just did the CD, I think. It's a good job we brought both. So Officer Down, I can't remember when we first met them either, but
I remember
stuff before this. Yeah, listened to them quite a lot beforehand as well. They've kind of had a change of lineup slightly and change of sound, I guess. But yes, it's an absolutely cracking album that we've got. Worked with a few different labels to get the record out.
I remember when we first met them, and it's a funny story. So we were playing at that venue on the outskirts of Birmingham, and Jay who was eventually in Brassic was the sound engineer, and by some sort of magic, you'd acquired a bottle of Jägermeister and a bottle of Glaver. And they played that night. And it was a messy affair. But that's when we met them, and they were brilliant. And they'd had a few releases before that we loved, hadn't we? So it was really cool to finally work with them. And then we've got a really cool long-term relationship because Shay from Officer Down does all our printing of our t-shirts and merch and stuff. So big shout out to Shay at EHC Screen Prints.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a screen print of this cover as well. I mean, we must have done like a limited run with the first 10 orders or something like that. Do we not do an insert for this? We did. I lost it.
I don't have an insert for it. Unless we simultaneously lost them.
I think we're probably just saving pennies, to be honest. But yeah, cracking album. Franceens, next release.
Yeah. Still want to see if you've got your insert, don't you?
I've not got one either.
I don't think we'd have one. There we go. Franceens up next.
Oh, well, download code.
You're in the past. We've moved on.
So we're very much, TNS is very much going for a 7-inch spell at this point, aren't we? We've done, this is the third 7-inch in 7 releases.
Yeah. 3 7-inches and a 12-inch single.
Yeah.
I think we just got to the point where we could do vinyl and we were just getting giddy.
Very much a vinyl stage at this point.
There's an interesting backstory with this one.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it that someone who was like a bit of a Francine super fan had always wanted to help put out a vinyl? So he helped put that out. Then he chucked a load of money into it as well. So it was like a co-release between us and the Francines super fan. What a nice man.
Yeah, that made that happen. It made it affordable. And it made, so the guy's intervention is the reason this exists. Very much. But yeah, another lovely looking record.
Yeah. Francines were doing really well at that point as well, weren't they? I do miss the Francines. Because we had 2 releases in this little section, didn't we? And then nothing else.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, worth checking out if you've not heard them before, which some people maybe watching this might not have done.
To be fair, I've not listened to much of the Francines. I'd never heard of them until obviously you released them. They're good. I enjoyed it.
There's still a few of the albums left as well, isn't there? I don't know if there's many 7-inches, is there?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's some 7-inches, yeah. They are there. This is my part of my portion of the TNS stock. Most of it is in their garage, Big Hands and Kaz's garage, but most of the vinyl is here, and the shelves over there, and then all behind me.
We were tempted to do this in the garage, but one, it's absolutely freezing. Until whatever the Wi-Fi would hold up.
No, it would have been a nice background. You should have committed.
Just to have some consistency when I open a new drink, I'm on Beavertown Gamma Ray now. It's only 5.4%, which is a suitable drink for your second beer at 11:30 on a Sunday morning. That's what I say.
You do like a Sunday drinker, so
I do.
I've got a lifetime.
I've
got to do some painting in a bit. But...
Unfortunately, I've got to drive in a bit, so.
Well, I've got to paint my pub, which it's a very fancy mug. I've got to paint the pub that is being built in my garden. I was about to say that I'm building in my garden, but as anyone who knows me will know, I've built fuck all. But there'll be a pub in my garden soon. So yeah, I've got to paint that. So I'll be combining my early drinking with some hardcore solvent abuse. That'll be nice. Honestly, we painted the floor bit, and it's so strong, the smell. I had a banging headache, and then played football. So strong day yesterday.
Nice. So we're moving European with the next release. You ready? This is Black Volvo from the Netherlands that must have first come across on tour, on Revenge tour.
Well, actually, we played with them. Revenge played with them in somewhere
Scotland?
near Nottingham. I can't think where it was. But Revenge played with them in the UK, and then we got chatting to them, got on really well, shared love of Zeke and all stuff like that, and then ended up sorting some gigs in the Netherlands, and then ended up becoming really, really good friends with them, and a really cool band. They have their moments, which I'm sure Big Hands will tell you some of his favourite Roy stories in a minute. But yeah, they don't exist anymore. But they've gone on to form a band called Bat Wolf, who you should also check out. They're really cool. But yeah, really, it was the start of a beautiful relationship. We've been on boating trips around the Netherlands, breweries in windmills, and all sorts of lovely things. But yeah, Big Hands is less positive about his involvement with Roy.
But he's not a very good driving teacher.
So Roy has this thing late at night when you're driving back after a gig. So you'll be the one sober person in the van and driving. And I've experienced this, but Big Hands got it first. Is that Roy will sit next to you and help you drive, but he's a big man.
And he isn't helping. I remember when Big Hands told me this story when he came back from tour. I'd not met Roy at this point, I don't think. So I didn't really know much about him at this stage. And he was like telling me that Roy had constantly been trying to drive the van while he was drunk. Whilst Big Hands was driving, not just him.
I wasn't drunk.
No, Big Hands was sober, driving the van. Roy was sat next to him, drunk, and also trying to drive the van. And I remember him telling me, and I was like, "Oh, fucking dickhead, that's so unsafe." And then I met Roy, and I was
Pretty
like,
accurate.
"Oh, this makes sense." Now I understand.
My favourite moments of that, and I didn't enjoy it as an experience, especially, to be honest, but my favourite moments were the fact that Roy was just like a child. He was going, "Let me do the pedals." And then Big Hands put on this voice. When you're panicked in an automobile, you go much more high pitched. You were going, "Roy, stop it!"
So this is his London voice. So when we get into the centre of London, that's the voice he does, and I call it his London voice because he's like, "Why are you driving into me. Like, it's so high pitched, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think the first time I heard it was driving Revenge to London, actually.
I just remember when he was doing that the first time. One, he was trying to force me to drink beer while I was driving. And if anyone's met Roy, it's quite hard to stop him when he's trying to make you do something.
He is a big man.
And two, I did really well driving, even with all the distractions, until we literally got to the last turning back to his flat, and I ended up going straight past it.
I mean, that's not too bad considering you could have crashed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's all right, really.
So anyone listening to this thinking Roy's a twat, I mean, he is, but he's very nice as well.
He's a nice twat.
Hi,
He's the
Roy.
kind of twat you love, you know.
So this was a joint release as well, with Round Dog Records, which were around for about 5 years. And was that Fraser out of the Murder Burgers that no longer exist as well.
Fraser does.
Yeah, Fraser does. But just not the Murder Burgers.
Yeah, he definitely exists.
It's ridiculous how few of the bands still regularly gig out of the early bands, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know, it's sad, really.
But we are talking, 2014 now, so things
Not a real
don't-
band unless you do a 14-year stint, that's what I say.
I had the magic number was 15, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We're going back local with the next release.
Oh, sneak peek.
So yeah, Roughneck Riot.
Or the Roughneck Riot. They could never decide what they were called.
They changed it. They even got Facebook to update for them. But so this is. I'm not sure what album this is. It must be the fourth album from Roughneck Riot, but the first one we were involved with. So obviously we knew them from Manchester. Well, they were Warrington, but
I think we met them at Strummer Camp, didn't we?
quite possibly, yeah. Yeah, it's a great album.
Yeah. So Roughneck are another band. I mean, this is our only Roughneck release, isn't it? They feature on a couple of other compilation type things and a split 7-inch, but this is our only full album release, which is bizarre because they're such a big part of our story. They were on the TNS tour, and you think of them as a huge key TNS band, don't you?
Yeah.
So it always surprises me we've only done the one album with them, but
I think I've got 5 versions of that album. To be fair.
Yeah, this record's been pressed a few times. I don't know what colour I've got here. Oh, nice. Yeah, we're starting to get to the point where we've got like nice different.
what have you got?
Orange.
We've got the same one.
There's 3 different.
Very coordinated today.
So
Bet you've got the same colour as all the variations.
lots to check out. We're starting to get to the point of the label now where we're doing coloured vinyl and sessions.
Out of all the colours, we've all got the same one out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you think back to our last episode, that was when we first started introducing vinyl properly, wasn't it? We'd had one vinyl very early on, but yeah, it was only 24th release where we started doing it as a consistent thing where we were the lead label on it. And I think it escalated very quickly to, yeah, if you look at this episode, most things were on vinyl and we were the lead label on them. And that was a big jump for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
It was quite a pivotal year for us, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it was this year and the following year as we started to pick things up a bit. Our sales started to pick up a bit, and we could, afford to take the risk where we'd press, a couple of different colours on the vinyl just to, get more options. And you know, we've started to increase the amount of things we're putting out. So I think the first 3 releases we talked about today first 2 releases were 2013, but the rest are all 2014. So we started to average like 10 releases a year after that, aren't we?
Yeah, did you see that statistic I posted the other day? I think in the first 5 years we did 30 releases, and then the following 8 years we did 70. So no, following 7 years we did 70, which is quite a step up, wasn't it?
Yeah, and most of our releases are, you know, we've pressed the full amount, or we've done kind of a joint. So yeah, it's a lot of records in that time as well. But yeah, this album was repressed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we sold out the first pressing, and I think it's probably the first of our releases that was repressed.
You got a second load of CDs as well, I think, didn't we, on this?
Yeah, quite possibly.
I think, yeah, because I keep forgetting whilst we're recording this that obviously TNS 100 is on pre-order to anyone listening to this, because we're a few weeks away from that when we're recording this. But yeah, there's a track on the new compilation that is going to be on their next album as well. So their next album is in the works, shall we say? So
I'm sure it's been in the works for 5 years.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
They took a break for a little period.
And then the Rona hit.
Their comeback gig was like literally a week or 2 after the first lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course, yeah. So yeah, they tried to have a comeback and then it got cancelled.
Might be trying to tell them something there.
I mean,
we're trying to tell
we're not
you.
in a position to laugh about that, though, are we?
Oh, no. It couldn't have been worse timing for you guys.
Yeah. So yeah, it was great. Great record.
It is a really good record. It's one of my. I remember when it first came out, I must have had it in my car constantly for about 6 months and just listened to it on repeat. It's so good.
Yeah, I think for me, like that album is when Roughneck really hit their sound, because they'd obviously got more of that melodic sort of Bad Religion influence at that point, but they'd managed to combine that really effectively with a sort of folky sound, and I think it's that album where it started to work exceptionally well, and you could see the gigs getting busier and bigger as a result of that album, couldn't you?
Yeah,
very deserved.
Yeah, they're a band that gig an awful lot, and that's probably why they had a break. So I'm sure they'll be everywhere as soon as they're back. Right, shall we move on to our final release of this episode?
Yeah.
another good one.
And this is the start of a big relationship as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So these, domestics have been part of TNS since this release, but they've been a huge part of it over the years since that first release. And I think they're another example. We'd heard their album, hadn't we? Their album before, and really liked it. And they were another band where we saw them live, and we were like, this definitely works. It's just raging fast, brilliant.
And we come across Ed 8 was in the band at that point, wasn't he? We'd come across him before with his other bands.
ICH especially,
yeah, and doing his solo stuff as well. He played. So yeah, I think we were the only band label that released a CD on this, and then we were.
Four labels going to back. So one of them being Kibu Records, which is James from the Domestics, and we've worked extensively with Kibu Records. We like to work with other labels where possible, and Kibu's one where it works well, because sometimes when you work with other labels, you're worried that you're trying to sell the same thing to the same audience, and and you're just nicking sales off each other, which, you know, obviously it's not a competition for sales, but every independent label has to break even. Whereas Kibu, I think it's worked really well because we've introduced some of the stuff they're interested in to new people and vice versa. So it's been a really, really good way of working, hasn't it, doing stuff with Kibu?
Yeah, definitely. And James just keeps going. New stuff all the time. He's
relentless.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm someone who gets myself very busy to the point where it's ridiculous, but I look at James and I think, wow, someone's worse than me here.
Yes, very much so. So yeah, that was definitely the start of a great new relationship.
That album as well is one of those that just makes you really happy. Like you listen to it and it's just like melt your face, kind of fast, happy-ish, kind of in your face punk, in it, and it's just such a good album.
Yeah.
What I love about Domestic's albums is and I guess this comes into prominence later on, but they almost work as individual songs, but as a song that's all connected together. It's almost like, you know, you're listening to a relentless piece of music which doesn't stop. I like it when fast bands don't stop. They just play all the songs one after the other, and I think it's just one hit after another, isn't it? Like just with hardly any space in between. It's just really cool.
Yeah, couldn't agree.
I love that. Yeah, it's like there's no time to rest. It's just smash, 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 smash. Oh, you like that? Here's another one. Boom. You know, there's no time to even breathe in between it, is there?
That's great.
That's what we want.
So yeah, that takes us up to, that's TNS40, isn't it? So, we're flying through these.
Yeah, that's the end of this episode.
And that's the last release of 2014, I think, as well. So next episode, we cover most of 2015 up to the halfway mark, TNS50.
Wow.
What a time to be alive.
It's still unbelievable that you're on 100 already. Like, it genuinely doesn't feel that long ago that we were having that 30 release, like print made and t-shirts made that Bunty did, and now it's 100. Like, it doesn't feel that long ago.
No.
It felt that long ago when I was trying to run around the football pitch.
It's that long ago right now.
I really enjoyed it. Most exercise I've done in about 12 months, I think.
Oh, I thought you meant TNS.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I've enjoyed that as well.
I knew you meant the football.
I mean, I might have enjoyed the football more than 100 releases.
What's the best memory it's brought back, this kind of discussion of these releases? Because for me, it was like looking back at these things, I've forgotten about a lot of it and don't really think about it anymore. So what's been good having this conversation for you guys?
Personal level, it's got to be Maida Vale and the 10-year gig, I think. They're the obvious standout ones. And smaller pre-orders, they were a lot easier.
I think it's
the 10-year one was a hefty pre-order, wasn't it?
What's that?
The 10-year one was a hefty pre-order because it had all t-shirts and hoodies.
Yeah, true.
And
I think it reminds you, doesn't it, like with having bands like Black Volvo and getting across the water a little bit, it reminds you how much something like this brings people together. Like, we would never have met Roy and Yap and and the boys now who are in the I nearly said house because I always want to go, you need to go out. We would never have met these guys and like the guys from Denmark and stuff had it not been for the music scene. Really, thinking about it, we would never have crossed paths. So I think it just shows how important something like this is to get people together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
You're meeting like-minded people, aren't you? And there's like-minded people all over the world, and anything that can connect those people is really special.
Exactly. And we all need to tell Black Volvo to go house, apparently. I've had many a drunken night shouting at the boys, now in Batwolf, to be fair, telling them they need to go house. That's an in-joke, sorry guys.
So yeah, in this period, we've done a lot in a year. We've done a lot of vinyl. We've got some international. We've got some like cross-label work in. It was good period. I think we did well.
Well done. Well done.
Well done.
You've done all right, haven't you?
Cheers.
Lovely stuff. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Big Hands and Kaz. I'll get back to work.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we'll get you on again. And yeah, see you later, everyone.
See you later.